Welcome back, subscribers, and welcome new viewers. And I want to thank each and every one of you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel, because every time you do that, that helps to circulate all of my videos to more and more individuals just like you who are seeking this information. All right, so thank you. And I have a third viewer request for Saturn. And again, this is the Saturn book I'm using. This is a new cover. This is an old book, but it's a newer cover. I had to get a new one of the same edition, and it's a new cover. So, and it says Saturn, a new look at an old devil, and it's from Robert Hand is the author. Okay, and Liz Green. Oh, excuse me, forward by Robert Hand. It's Liz Green, excuse me, is the author. Okay, so, all right. So, and the viewer request is for the Saturn in the 7th house and or Libra. Okay, so I'll get the glasses on here. And if any of you would like a copy after I'm through, just send me an email, leave me a comment. And if you leave me a comment, I just need your email address so that I can send the copies. Okay. And all of my information is always down in the drop-down box below all of my videos. All right. Libra is the sign of Saturn's exaltation, and as the concepts of exaltations and falls have stubbornly held their ground in modern astrological interpretation, it is possible that there is a deep and meaningful significance to them, and that Saturn's placement in Libra is worthy of a close and careful look. And I just want to say, for those of you that don't know, Libra is the natural zodiac sign placement for the 7th house. That's why they put them together. In this book, this author puts the house placement and the sign together. Okay. The 7th house is traditionally that of marriage and the marriage partner, as well as that of open enemies. The characteristics which are valued in others and which are sought in a partner are symbolized by this house, as well as the characteristics which are possessed by our enemies and through which we are vulnerable to opposition. In the 7th house, the perfect match is represented. The attributes which, when added to the components of the personality of the individual, will round him out and make him whole. The situations which the person is likely to attract in marriage are also represented here, and some indication of what kind of partner the person himself is likely to be. We have for a long time accepted a rather superficial interpretation for Libra and its mundane house, and the psychological mechanism of projection is most clearly and obviously displayed by the traditional meaning assigned to this house of the other. For the other is in the end within oneself, and it is a balance between the male and female halves of the man's own psyche, which stands behind his balance with a marriage partner. We seek in others what we are not able to express consciously ourselves, and we also hate in others what we are not able to express. No perfect match with another can create inner wholeness. Marriage, as it is reflected by the 7th house, is a reality only in proportion to the inner integration of the individual. Otherwise, it is a charade, and although this view is apparently a cynical or depressive one, it is possible that it is in fact hopeful because it suggests the possibility of something better than what we see around us. The basic psychological mechanism of projection of the unconscious, transsexual half of the psyche, termed by Jung the anima in men and the animus in women, is intimately connected with the qualities of the marriage partner as they are evidenced by the seventh house. When Saturn in the seventh house, the opportunity for an inner integration or balancing of opposites is offered, for it is unlikely that the individual will find the qualities he seeks happily expressed by a partner. It's more likely that he will attract to himself situations which involve some degree of pain, isolation, rejection, and disappointment until he begins to reorient himself toward an inner search. This placement is analogous. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I didn't. To the, boy, what is that word? Okay. I don't know that word either. It's CONIUNCTIO. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm just going to move forward. So it's this placement until, okay, I'm going to start all over. This placement is analogous to the mystical marriage of alchemy, which is, in psychological terms, suggests an inner integration which results in a new center for the psyche and new balance and meaning in life. The alchemical symbolism, this marriage is always accompanied by darkness and death previous to the distillation of the elixir, and the darkness which often accompanies a seventh house Saturn is matched only by the brilliance of the gold, which is also promised. The most basic interpretation of Saturn in the seventh house is sorrow, difficulty, or constriction in marriage or other close relationships. Okay, and the reason why the author is saying that is because Saturn, well, the representation of Saturn is the authoritarian, and that has to do with, well, authority figures, which they're very, strict. They go by the book, they go by the rules. It's very non-emotional. Generally, these sorrows appear to be the hand of external fate and often do not seem to be connected with any fault in the individual himself. Well, that's correct, because it's the energy that the Saturn, the frequency that was coming to you at birth. That's what put Saturn in whatever zodiac sign, if you have it in Libra, and in the seventh house specifically. So that's the specific energy coming to you. So it is no one's fault. That is absolutely true. It's not your fault, and it's not your parents' fault either. But you will, because of this specific energy, you will draw to you those types of experiences. So, and it's being the relationship house, it's going to bring these types of very constricting, very authoritative. So you might, before you have been able to get to know who you truly are, and again, through astrology, work through your personal work, you will have more sorrowful, and more constricting, more authoritative partners. Those of you specifically with what I'm reading, Saturn in Libra or in the 7th house. So it's not going to be fun, is basically what they're saying. It's not going to be that love relationship that any of us are wishing for, not at first. Not at first. Okay. But you can have it. And this is telling you why you've been having the types of relationships, at least one of the reasons why you've been having the types of relationships and the difficulties in relationships. And now you are aware of this consciously. Okay. Generally, these sorrows appear to be the hand of external fate and often do not seem to be connected with any fault in the individual himself. Saturn in this house is frequently in his most elaborate disguise because his action is so completely externalized. It always seems to be the other person's fault. See, that's what they're saying. But it's actually, you're the one with the Saturn energy in the 7th house or in Libra that is calling to you partners that are going to be externally father figure-ish, or if you're a male, well, they're going to be that authority figure, a very strong female that is an authority over you. Females, it's going to be that authoritative father figure that is over you, standing, or it's going to feel like that. And they're going to exhibit that. Before you complete your personal work. And again, so personal work through astrology is your south node. So if you have your nodes, read them again, and I'm sure you probably already are. Just keep reading them and keep working through them, because that will have a tremendous positive effect on your Saturn in the 7th house or in Libra, so that you can call to you that correct partner once you have matured and worked through your south node. So there's nothing wrong with this, and now you'll be able to see why, and you can take those lessons too of those past relationships. Now look back and see, what did you learn, or what were you going through? What did they put you through, so to speak, that you were calling for so that you could learn? Okay. And then read your south node. And if you don't have your south node, send me a message, send me an email, a comment, and let me know. If you know what they are, then I can send you copies. You can also look back in my past videos. South nodal videos, I have 11 so far. Okay, let's keep going here. It always seems to be the other person's fault. This is characteristic of 7th house planets, and good or bad luck, happiness or unhappiness, appear to come through the agency of the partner or the opponent. We are accustomed to interpreting this house as a symbol of the effects of others upon us, without considering that these effects are the direct result of our own inner needs and conflicts projected outward upon others. Okay, just like I mentioned, it is not wholly the partner's shortcomings that are responsible when Saturn in the seventh house does not foster a union of unmitigated bliss. The restrictions of the seventh house Saturn are often a very obvious sort. Commonly, isolation or aloneness is one sort of restriction. We may also see the older, more serious partner who, although stable and faithful, and perhaps financially solvent as well, dampens and constricts the individual's expression because he does not understand or appreciate his partner's thoughts and dreams. The partner may be ailing or dependent in some way through illness or monetary obligations, thereby becoming a responsibility rather than a companion. Sometimes he is possessive and demanding, or he may be a disappointment simply because he is incompatible, or abandons the individual, or causes hurt through emotional or physical infidelity. In situations of this kind, we are accustomed to assuming that it is the person's bad luck in the choice of a mate. Everything is usually all right at the beginning. It all seems to happen later, after the knot is tied. We may then hear the familiar cry, quote, "I never realized when I met him," unquote. There is much that we know about others at the first moment of contact, for we are as sensitive to the subliminal signals given in 1,000 subtle ways by our fellows as the lower kingdoms of nature are to the subtle signals of their environment. But these are intuitive realizations, and they are not often welcome if the inner needs contradict the conscious ideal of what a mate should be. So you don't even, if you don't know what that means, what it's saying to me is you don't listen to your intuitive promptings. You put those aside because they're not going with, you're wanting to be with this person, and again, it's true, you're needing to be with them. So if you disregarded those intuitive promptings, well, that's because it's something you needed to learn. So you can now look back, if you haven't already, maybe you already have, and you have seen what you have learned and the part that that person played and how you called that person into your life because you needed that experience. And again, it's going to be different for all of you, or not so different, actually. This is Saturn, but it could also relate to your south node as well. Saturn and your south node could be linked for some of you. Okay. The fact that someone later seems to be different is not due to bad luck, but to a deliberate inner choice which was made at the very beginning. That's what I was just saying. And so don't you feel bad? Absolutely not. Because you were needing to learn something. You were calling that person to you for a specific lesson. And it's okay if you didn't learn that lesson. You didn't know. Now you can look back now. Once again, it is wise to assume some responsibility where Saturn is concerned, for the awareness of these inner needs and the honest sharing of them is very likely a prerequisite for happy and productive union when Saturn is found in the seventh house. Although it may at first seem difficult to understand why an individual would choose, consciously or unconsciously, a partner who will hurt, disappoint, or limit him, it is not so difficult to understand that a man may be at war with himself and be compelled by unconscious motives of which he is unaware. Absolutely. And again, the main unconscious motive is going to be in your natal wheel. You will see that it will be found in your natal wheel with your south node, with Chiron, and with any other planets you might have in the seventh house besides Saturn, or opposing squaring Saturn. So that's what's so beautiful about astrology. It tells you, it brings all of this unconscious stuff, this subconscious stuff, these programs that we were born with, the energy that was coming to us from the stars, from the different planets when we were born, so that we can navigate our universe to the best possible way that is best for us in our highest good, and be our highest positive, most positive selves out into the world, to be the most good out into the world as well. It's just so amazing and so beautiful. And I know it doesn't feel good. No, it doesn't. I went through my own personal hell. I absolutely did, for years and years and years. And I didn't think I was going to live through it. But here I am. I did. I'm flourishing now more than ever. I'm so grateful for each and every experience, especially now. I wasn't necessarily grateful then, but I did become grateful. And you will too, and maybe you have already and so that is wonderful, that is beautiful. This is just a great confirmation. Okay, so his choice of a partner is often a reflection of his own war. And I want to say, not just war, it's your own experience, because you are wanting to bring that out so that you can understand you and know who you truly are. But again, until you know through astrology, you keep doing the same things. That's what each and every one of us do. That's why astrology is so essential. And that's why it's been squelched. Not anymore. That's why I had this channel. The consistent thread, not consistent, consistent thread, which runs through the many expressions of Saturn in the seventh house, seems to be the successful avoidance of a relationship which might involve real union on all levels instead of merely the physical or emotional. The dangers of dependency or vulnerability are carefully sidestepped by Saturn's action, although the man may be unaware that he is doing this on a conscious level. Seen from the viewpoint of the detached observer, relationships formed with a Saturnian influence are often safe, in that the partner is himself dependent, weak, needful, and unable to form any kind of threat or support to the individual. The partner may be cold or unfaithful or incapable of establishing a meaningful relationship with himself, and this is a neat mechanism for avoiding the effort and responsibility of a fully conscious union, while having a scapegoat on whom the failure of the union may be blamed. And again, this is how you're going to feel. You're going to blame. You will. This is what was coming to you until you know better. Now you know better. So you don't need to feel bad. Just no more blaming. You know where this is coming from now. You don't have to blame. There's no reason to. There's no need to. And no blaming yourself either. Okay. Saturn in the seventh house does not necessarily describe the failure of marriage because of the failure of the partner, but it often appears this way to the conscious eye of the individual, who must project his own inaccessibility onto someone else. So they're talking about your partner. They are the cast. You have cast them as an actor or actress in your specific play so that you can bring this out to your own self and correct your own self. So you can thank them. You can thank them for those experiences when you get to that point, when you're able to, when you completely see what I'm talking about and what they're talking about. There's no judging and no guilt, no blame, anyway, anywhere. So amazing. You were born with this Saturn. You were born with it. So who's to blame? What? The universe, God, or who? No, not even them. No. Because it's making you a better person. Okay. I will just read. Apologize if I'm going off too, but these things are coming to me and someone needs to hear them. I hope it's being helpful to each and every one of you. All right. Okay. From the point of view of the personality, this mechanism appears to be a depressing one, for it would appear that there is something lying deep within the individual's psyche which will not permit him happiness in union. This is true, but is only depressing when seen out of context. What is really implied is that happiness in union is not possible unless the union is based upon values other than the ordinary superficial ones of appearance, financial status, emotional dependency, and social pressure. For these causes carry with them inevitably the seeds of failure if Saturn is in the 7th house. Wow, that's a big one. Wow, yes. Let me see, how long am I? Okay, we're still good. Yeah, I'm going to read that sentence again. That is a very, very, very important one. Okay. What is really implied is that happiness in union is not possible unless the union is based upon values other than the ordinary superficial ones of appearance, financial status, emotional dependency, and social pressure. For these causes carry with them inevitably the seeds of failure, especially if Saturn is in the 7th house. So now you know. All the relationships or any of the relationships that have failed for you so far, it's because they had that Saturnian skew, that superficial skew to it because of Saturn, because you are meant for a deep, true, connected, committed, compatible relationship. That's what you are meant for. And that is why Saturn is there. It's not going to allow you to have a superficial or a partial relationship. No, you get the real thing once you've taken care of your personal work, your South Node. Once you work through your South Node and you know this now about Saturn, wow, that is absolutely outstandingly awesome. Wow, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. And I do have an understanding of that because my South Node is in a partnership house, the 8th house. The 7th and 8th house are partnership houses. And so, especially my South Node, I now because of all the work I have done through my and completing my personal work. I'm right there at the end of it. And now I am being set up with a partnership exactly like you also are going to be able to have. It's very, very outstandingly awesome. I'm very grateful, and I know you are too. I know you are too. Okay. Wow. Saturn in the 7th house tends to symbolize a rather painful arrangement because of the ensuing loneliness. But in the end, the thing which is sought is inner integration, an inner marriage, and inner wholeness, rather than dependency upon another person for the center of one's psychic life. Absolutely. From the point of view of the self, the total psyche, rather than of the personality, Saturn placed here offers a great opportunity. There is no suggestion of the necessity of a lonely life. There is rather the inner push to understand the deeper levels of union. Yes, true unconditional love. True. The psychic fact of which marriage is a symbol, and the kind of true relationship which stems from two people who have centers of their own and are therefore free consciously to choose. Patterns of hurt and rejection are common with Saturn in the 7th house. There is often much talk of giving, for Saturn often plays the martyr. Yet it is frequently found that the individual who complains the most about having given so much with so little reward has in reality given little that does not have a condition attached. He is frightened of being alone, yet he is equally frightened that he will be hurt. So he tries to follow both these impulses and establishes relationships into which his inner self does not enter. Often Saturn will overcompensate, and instead of being the one who is consistently abandoned, he will play the Don Juan figure of either sex and give the impression of being hard, callous, and unfeeling. This is very rarely the true inner nature of Saturn, but it is one of his most frequent masks. So that's not who you truly are if that's what you're doing. You're just afraid of being hurt, of course. Absolutely. And your chart would show that too. Because we're all different. We're all different. And very unique. And the hurt part, again, Chiron. The wounded healer. Where we're wounded first, and then we are healed. He is more likely morbidly sensitive underneath his armor, so he will seek safety rather than the possible pain of a union which might end in his rejection. And also I have to say too that some of you, it's going to be your south nodes. So again, read your south node again, or if you don't have your south node and you'd like it, let me know. Sacrificing love for safety, which he often calls duty, he may believe that he has made an advantageous choice and then finds he cannot extricate himself when the enormity of his sacrifice becomes clear to him. The man with Saturn in the 7th house who attempts to make partnership a material affair generally finds that he must pay a higher price than he intended. This is often the case when Saturn's inclination toward truth and dispelling of illusory values is blocked. It is not necessary to postulate the idea of hell after death when one has glimpsed the inner hell of loneliness, which is often the companion of this attempt to distort Saturn's energies. Saturn in an angular house suggests that events and direct contacts with others are involved in the working out of the process of inner discovery. So yes, so any of you with Saturn in Libra or this seventh house, they're saying, just like my South Node, it takes partnerships to work this out. So you will be in partnerships and these things will be happening to you, or you will be any of these things. You can be doing this or be on the receiving end, because you are, what did they say? What did she say? You are mirroring this to your partner so that you can see this within inside yourself, what's going on. But anyway, you're still not going to know until this. And so I bless you and I thank you, viewer, for asking. You know who you are, to know this about yourself. Good job, good job. And you're well on your way. Okay. In the seventh, this is apparent in that the marriage partner becomes either a source of suffering or a source of great opportunity for mutual growth. As soon as you know this, then you can see it as growth. All right, that's just awesome. This choice is free to the individual, but he must first realize that he has a choice. Now you know. Viewers, each and every one of you know you have a choice now where you didn't before because you were unaware. It was in your subconscious. It was unconscious. You didn't know. All right, well, you just brought it out. That is so awesome. If he does not, it is not his bad karma, which has brought him suffering, but simply ignorance. Again, yes, because you didn't know. But how could you? But it's because of the suffering that you sought to seek the truth about you. You sought astrology. You sought this information. Or you wouldn't be here right now. So you've had to suffer to be here right now, to be asking and seeking information, seeking the truth about yourself. That is just outstanding. Okay, well, that's all I have for you. All right. Until next time. Bye.